as we wait.
And here we are.
And here we are.
All right. Hi, everybody. It is Thursday, and we are Trekker's Delight. I am Marie Brownhill. I'm here with Jermaine, Jason McCammon, and Keith Shovlin. We are going to be talking about the Hegemony, which is the final episode of the sophomore season of Strange New Worlds. Y'all, we finally got Gorn. We got all the Gorn.
We got some Gorn. Some Gorn. Gorn.
Yes, there is. And to save us from that, please, beautiful bean footage.
Welcome.
All right, guys. Who's falling on the sword today? Not it.
I got it.
Keith's got it.
All right, so we pick up pretty much almost exactly where we left off from last week's wonderful singing episode. You have the Cayuga on the planet Parnassus B, helping with vaccinations and other care for this community that has decided to emulate a small town, a Midwestern American city, as might have been seen on the TV show Reacher, available on Amazon Prime. And we found that there's an extra person on the medical staff, and that would be Nurse Chapel, having joined the Cayuga as they are transporting her to Dr. Corby's base,
research outpost.
Research outpost, wherever he is.
That's what we're gonna go with.
Well, archaeological medicine, so probably a dig. Yeah, either works. So then Chapel beams back up to the Cayuga, and Captain Batel has a quick talk with Captain Pike, which is then cut off as they lose communications with the Cayuga. They see a shuttle crash landing on the planet, but then some other some other ship enters the atmosphere, a la the aliens from Independence Day.
Like in a cloud.
Yes. And we see a Gorn ship come through. Enterprise gets the message from the Cayuga that they are under attack. So that they, with the orders from the Admiral, they set course, worrying that this could be the start of a war. They arrive to find what remains of the Cayuga. And then we go into the credits. When they come back, they scan, finding no minimal life signs, if any, because they can't seem to scan anything. They can't beam down. They can't raise communications. So they come up with a plan and to use a shuttle to hide through the wreckage of the Cayuga to sneak onto the planet. An away team of Pike, Ortega, Mabenga, and
Sam Kirk.
And Laan. They get to the planet, make their way to the town, which has been completely ravaged by the Gorn attack. They first come upon a Gorn youngling, who they are able to attack with their new Gorn fighting phasers. Then they hide in the barbershop before they find traces of humans. They move on over to this other shop where it seems kind of a sloppy way of hiding that the life signs, but it turns out it's actually a ploy left by an engineer who was in that shuttle that they saw crashing. One Lieutenant Junior Grade Montgomery Scott.
Please don't do it again.
I will not. Like I said, 13% Scottish.
Was that Irish or was that?
Yes.
We're just gonna let that go.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna let that go.
he had been with the USS Sundiver in another system that was attacked by the Gorn, and made his way out by disguising his shuttle to like a Gorn ship and making it to the planet ahead of the Gorn attack. And he had set up this buoy that was in order to catch the Gorn, but instead caught Pike and his crew. It then takes him to where all of the remaining crew of the Cayuga and the remaining colonists are hiding in a diner. M'Benga starts taking medical care, and Pike meets up with Batel, and they try to formulate a plan to somehow get out of there. Talking to Scotty, they realize that he had this shuttle that was able to mask as a Gorn, so they decide to try to make it back to the shuttle. While there, they get attacked by a Gorn youngling again, but this time the Gorn youngling stops short of actually attacking them, getting right in the face of Captain Batel and then running away. At which point, Pike puts two and two together and realizes that Batel has been infected with the Gorn babies, like we saw happen last season to Hemmer and others. While this is happening, the crew of the Enterprise is trying to figure out a way to navigate getting to the planet. The Gorn have issued an ultimatum to Starfleet that they consider Parnassus B to be their space, while the moon and everything else where Enterprise currently is Federation. So they figured out that they could attach rockets to the Cayuga's destroyed saucer section to take out this beacon that is on the planet that is causing the disruption in their communication, scanning, and transporters. As Spock goes over to place these rockets, because he's the only one with the scientific know-how to place them properly, we find that Nurse Chapel, protected by plot armor, is the only survivor on the Cayuga. She's able to wake up, reestablish life support for an hour, and then walk up to the exact window that Spock flies past as he goes to place the individual rockets. She finds the one remaining suit to be able to try to get to be able to leave the ship, and then of course comes upon a full-grown Gorn adult who is trying everything to guess the captain's password. Spock then ends up on the bridge where he has placed the last rocket and is getting ready to fire them, where he is then attacked by the Gorn. So, sort of by surprise, but because of the reflection, he could see him coming up behind. And then, of course, Chapel shows up and is able to just barely get the phaser to distract the Gorn, and Spock is able to break the Gorn's helmet and cause it to suffocate. And they together are able to get out, as the saucer section then crashes into the planet, taking out the beacon, landing right next to the shuttle where Scotty, Batel, and Pike were getting ready to take some action. With the beacon down, they're able to beam those three back up to the Enterprise, but as well as to beam Spock and Chapel directly on, where Chapel is now the only medical staff. Then we see the survivors as well as the rest of our crew, landing crew, beam away. But as we get to the ship, Chapel goes to take care of Batel. Scotty goes to work with Pelia, who said he was always her best student, but always got the worst grades. And they get to the bridge and find that they cannot find the other humans or their away team. And it turns out that when they beamed away, they were actually being beamed to the Gorn ship. So now we have the array team and the survivors of the colony and the Cayuga on the Gorn ship. You have the Admiral telling Pike to back off, and you have the Gorn ships now attacking the Enterprise as we fade to black. And that's it for season 2 of Strange New Worlds.
Well, what we have is Pike's decision to either go after the people or to retreat, like
and
April has commanded.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we leave off, is Pike's decision.
Yeah.
He's the captain. He's wearing the pants.
I gotta say, when he paused, I paused my playback to see how much time was left in the episode, because I thought that he was pausing for a lot longer than you would expect him to, and it turns out because we only had a minute left in the episode.
Yeah,
well,
there's no way Pike is leaving them.
That was going to be my question. What do you think he's going to do?
I mean, 100% he's going to go back. I mean, this is very much best of both worlds, but, you know, Strange New World style is what this is. So it's this whole conversation now about, like, is Pike going to leave his people? We know he's not, the same way we knew that Riker was never going to destroy Jean-Luc Picard. They were going to find a way to get Picard back. And that's what Pike's going to do. Now, I don't know that everybody is going to make it back. I have real questions about what we're going to do with
Pelia.
I have questions about Pelia. I always have questions about Pelia. I still don't know enough about Lanthanites, goddammit. Like, I don't.
We don't, because we don't have enough. It's a new thing they introduced. So
I know.
I don't recall any other Lanthanites in Star Trek ever.
And we have like 3 episodes with Pelia in them, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah, I've not gotten enough of her at all.
No,
I think we're gonna see her in season 3. I think so. I think it would be great to see her and Scotty interact.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's not like Scotty has anywhere else to go now since the Sundiver's gone.
And it's not like she has a big engineering crew, as we've seen in previous episodes, where it tends to only be her in that giant engineering.
Like randomly wandering around, you know, just going, hey, I have a thing that I'm going to stick to the bulkhead. That's what I'm going to do.
I think, as far as Scotty, I always think it's kind of strange in Star Trek, because it's like, well, you know, he found the nearest planet. You know how far the nearest planet is? Wherever you ever are in space, it's always far, but it's always close on Star Trek. Oh, look, there's a M-class planet right there. It's like, where was he?
M-class planet.
Where was he? I don't know. That's my only thing. It's like,
I mean, he was one. I mean, what's crazy is he's literally one system over, right? Like, I mean, he's at a different sun.
Right.
That's still talking about thousands of light years.
100,000 light years.
Exactly. Right. Like, I mean, the Shang Di system is a long way away, and yet somehow this is where he ends up.
Don't question it. Don't question it.
Don't question it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm in love with the fact.
Hand waving in this episode.
Don't get me wrong. I'm in love with this new Scotty, though. Like, I'm really in love. Like,
I like him.
First off, he looks like a young Jimmy Doohan.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is fantastic. Well done, Martin Quinn. Not that you had anything to do with that, but like, nice bone structure. And 2, he's actually Scottish for the first time.
Yeah, I do have a problem with the fact that he's 29, so he's a bit older than he should be. But that seems to be what's strange.
29 on the show or in real life?
In real life.
But can I say
how old he is in real life? I mean, I watched 90210, and those guys were like 30 years old.
They were.
Valid point.
This particular character was much more like the character that we saw in the Kelvin universe. Scotty's. You know what I'm saying? Number one, he was a lot shorter, right? And so, and you also get the sense that he's going to be a bit on the comedic side,
right? Which is not something we necessarily got in TOS, because like doing Scotty was very much, I mean, there were comedic moments, like when he just arbitrarily decides to like beat the crap out of some Klingons because they insulted his lady.
It is garbage.
Man.
That was like the last straw. What did you say?
And he's just like, I'm done, man. I'm done.
I will say I much prefer the way they introduced Scotty in this series than how they introduced him in the 2009 film. But,
in that he had a reason to be there.
First of all, that whole transporter thing he had in the 2009 film, it's just like, I'm like,
if you could transport from system to system, why do you need starships?
Quite convenient. I
mean, I understand you can explain it like through like quantum entanglement and stuff like that, maybe, but I was like,
if you can beam from Earth to Kronos,
if you can explain that via quantum entanglement, like, more power to you. You have now really outstripped any of my.
I could do that. It might not be real, but I could do it.
I will make some shit up, man.
It might be complete bullshit, but I could do it.
Where's Voltaire? Where's Voltaire when we need him, right? Like, you know, roundabout. Right.
So the thing about that particular movie, the thing that I didn't understand in that whole sequence was, okay, so if they're saying that Scotty developed this technology to beam on to a moving starship that's moving, you know, wherever, right?
Faster than sunlight, yes.
Why is it that we didn't see this in later iterations of Star Trek?
Right, ever by anyone.
Yeah, We saw it in Into Darkness, and then that's it.
Well, that's like saying
don't question it. Don't question it.
No,
That's like-
you're asking for logic out of the Kelvin verse, man.
That's
Like, come on.
That's like saying if Nikola Tesla came up with an idea for free energy, why haven't we seen it? Right?
You are not wrong, Ray. You're not wrong.
If he came up, there's
Don't say
things.
his name.
I mean, isn't it? I think it is, in fact, Benny Patch Cumberwuzzle that manages to do it.
Yes. Yeah, he seriously beams from Earth to
Right.
Kronos, and Scotty's pissed off because he used it.
He's like, "Damn it! You didn't give me. I didn't get any royalties, man."
Well, that happened with
Because
Legend
every 10th
Transporter, right?
transport you explode into 1 billion pieces.
Just
Every 10th, but not every one. I think every one you explode into 1 billion pieces.
I think now we're taking this far too seriously, and
Yeah,
we should possibly
yeah,
get back.
yeah,
And we should
yeah.
possibly get back to the other the other illusion
Ooh,
in this
Star Trek came on
episode.
today. So what do we think about the Gorn? Because
I was about to say, like, let's go back and talk about the xenomorphs. Excuse me, Gorn.
it's so horror.
It's
Yeah,
hard to tell.
xenomorphs is a good it's a good word, Marie.
I mean, it's literally they're riffing off of Alien, right? That's what
It's
they're
Alien.
doing,
With the eggs and eggs and everything.
behind Spock and
The thing about the Gorn is what we don't get usually with villains is the villain's POV from their ship and what they're doing and why. We don't get that with the Gorn. We don't see them on the ship. We don't see them giving orders. We don't see them saying, "Hey, go down there and eat all those people and then hang some of them up on the ceiling," because we love that, right? So number one, go hang people. On the ceiling.
Well, first, have we ever
They
heard
have
them
so
talk?
many.
Communicate?
Well, they click. They
Yes.
click. Yeah, they have that clicking language that apparently they're hatched knowing.
well, thanks for stopping by, Marie.
Bye, Marie.
3 Maries, right?
Yeah, I know. Marie Batel, Marie Flanagan, and me.
Today,
Woohoo!
Marie.
He
Trey
did
Marie.
talk in Arena, the original Gorn episode of
Mhm.
the original series. He did talk.
It was very broken, but
His
yeah.
mouth didn't move, but he talked.
I mean, and in all fairness, that poor actor really could see absolutely nothing.
It's
Just
hard.
absolutely nothing.
It's hard to see them as technologically advanced species, the way they have them just so completely alien and animalistic. I felt that way with who are the Black Oozy people on
Enterprise?
Discovery. The ones who control the Baul. I felt the same way with those people. I was like, I can't really see them as technologically advanced.
Technologically advanced.
I feel that way with the Gorn. That they're only trying to sell this like creepy horror creature thing, where it's like, yes, but they are also technologically advanced, and they have a society and a hierarchy. I don't know if it's a hierarchy, but show some
I
of
have to
that.
admit,
as
I
well.
also struggled with that, especially when we had the whole conversation with Sam Kirk and talking about locusts, and we're discussing the Gorn as if they are this mindless wave of creatures that consume. I mean, even the Borg, which arguably could have been mindless waves of creatures that consume, had sentience and had the ability to communicate. And you're right, we don't see that in the Gorn. We see mostly just monsters and monster. I mean, and like everything on the planet is coated in blood and egregious tissue.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, it's all about how bestial they are. It's all about how alien they are and how dangerous, and how they are going to eat us all and use us to incubate their babies, and we're all going to have like xenomorph deaths. I'm calling it now. Batel's going to fall into fire. We're going to have a full-on Ripley.
See that?
Yeah, that was straight from Aliens. Oh, I smell the babies. Gonna walk away.
Well, just the fact that every single camera angle we saw of the town after the Gorn attack had to have blood in it. Like, here's this window with blood. Here's the kitchen area of the diner, blood. Here's the seats with blood on it.
Well, to be fair, I mean, they make the point that the colony has 5,000 people, and we're very much not down. I mean, we very much no longer have 5,000 people. So I have to admit, I was also really impressed by somehow we've gone from having like a bright, shiny, good day to like the darkness.
So also, yeah, I noticed that too. I was like, when did it turn nighttime? Like it just was nighttime.
It's been a few hours.
I mean, it's been a few hours, but like, that wasn't. That was.
I guess nighttime can come.
Apparently, the Gorn just bring the darkness with them. Like they're the darkness lizards. And also I'm really, really amused with the break in case of Gorn. Great. That just, by the way, here we have new phaser rifles. Oh Lord.
Right. Gorn protocol. Right.
And I'm sitting there thinking, like, you're not gonna have enough time to like distribute the Gorn protocol. Like, I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe that's how that works.
But... They didn't have enough time. They had time to sit down. They opened the case and give everybody a.
I know, but like if it's used the way it's supposed to be used, which is like your ship is being taken over by the Gorn, because if Pike had it, so did Batel, right? It was on the Cayuga.
Right.
But why is it a secret?
She didn't have time.
If you have a new
point, that's exactly my point. That this
if you have a new Gorn,
like the one break in case of Gorn isn't an emergency strategy.
Right. If
Starfleet, do better.
Do better. On the surface when they were attacked by the Gorn. Obviously, no one else on her crew knew it was there. So,
yeah, I'm wondering.
Again, is just basically like giving fuel to my fire here. Like it's supporting my argument because, like, my point is this is a really crap way to institute an emergency protocol.
It is because, okay, they can probably figure out how to work the guns, but now they're giving these new tablets, and it's like. They're supposed to know how to work these things. If it's a new Gorn protocol, it at least shouldn't your security officer and the security staff be briefed on how to work this stuff.
Agreed. It's not like this is like top secret type stuff. Like they knew that eventually they were going to go to war with the Gorn, right? Mm-hmm. So everyone should have been briefed. Everyone should have been trained. Everyone, you know what I'm saying?
Maybe they were busy singing the whole time.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, La'an would definitely have been running Gorn drills if they had properly prepared for this.
Yeah. She did. I mean, she'd have upped her antidepressant like a lot, but like she would have been running Gorn drills.
Yeah.
I mean, and fair play to her. Like, yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah. Especially for her having gone through the horrors of being on the Gorn breeding planet. Yeah.
My question is, what was that settlement doing there in the first place if there was already a line drawn?
No, there wasn't.
No. It was at the edge of Federation space, but
they were actually past the Federation border.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Why were they going past Federation border?
I mean, why did settlers like cross the Oregon Trail?
Yeah.
For spice and gold.
Samesies.
Well, yeah.
And apparently, and religious freedom and all of that jazz. I mean, not that any of that was real, but like we'll set that aside. But these people apparently wanted to have the freedom.
A Midwestern culture.
My God, I know.
It's what was available to them in the outskirts of Toronto.
Right. Right. They're like, we need a shooting location. What are we going to do? Wait.
But by the way, she finally got her away mission.
And she didn't want to go. She was upset. She's like, damn it, this is what I want to get.
She's like, why was I doing that? And Pike's just like, Oh.
But by the way, did you see that smile on her face when she was flying?
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
I did.
Except everyone else's face was like,
they're all like, we're all gonna die. Like, Ortegas is gonna kill us all. Even Pike. Can we also talk about how artfully teased his hair was?
Yes.
I kept getting really distracted by that.
Wait, whose hair?
Like the delicate finger combing.
You love this man's hair. You talk about it all the time.
I do, because he's like Captain Good Hair.
Who are we talking about? Pike?
Pike.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's Captain Good Hair. When was the last time we had a captain with like epic hair outside of like Sonequa Martin Green's, Michael Burnham's amazing hair? Yes. I stand corrected.
Shut you down, Jason. Shut you down. Yes, he did. But yeah, but that's something I noticed on Discovery was his hair, right? You noticed that way back in Discovery.
Oh yeah.
It got epic when he got his own show.
Yes. I'm pretty sure it gained about another 2 inches.
Yeah. There was definitely a styling to it that was not,
Right. I'm like, it's Star Trek Dallas.
I would love to see the barber. Like I really do like that in TNG that we got to see a barber or
Yes.
you know, a hairstylist.
Mr. Mott, yeah.
It's a regular everyday thing that everybody just does, you know. And
I swear.
I like that.
I swear, like, I'm pretty sure he's just, you know, he goes into the school, like, to the hair salon on the ship, and it's just like, I can't look like a cowboy, but I want you to get me as close as possible.
Right.
And so the alien is like, well, we're cowboys, Texas. And so, like, he or she, or they downloads old historical documents, and it's Dallas, which is why it just gets taller and taller every time.
As short as possible on the sides, almost, you know, like
Right.
and Ortega's. There's got to be nothing on the sides, but
right.
top. Oh, wait.
I love her hair though.
I know, right? I know. Ortega's is just awesome.
Yeah, so she got a little bit more to do this episode.
She did, and also so did Sam Kirk. And it's kind of nice actually to get to see Sam Kirk be competent, because that was actually one of my real complaints. Yeah. When we had that whole in Lost in Translation, when they had that whole like sibling rivalry with James, and I'm just sitting there like, Sam's got a point. Like, he's on the flagship for a reason. And yet we've never seen him do anything other than, you know, be that guy from Galaxy Quest.
Right.
But can I say that this image right here, I mean, this just reminds me of 1970s, 1980s porn star.
Yeah, the mustache.
The stash is a choice.
Love it.
Really? Really?
It.
Because I sort of feel like he's hiding a bag of candy somewhere.
Where would he be hiding this candy?
Exactly.
Don't want to.
Keith is like, Jason, do not let her go through that door. Just don't open it. Just stop.
No windows. He's got a van with no windows, and he lives with his mom.
Well, I'm glad Kirk wasn't on the show.
Yes, we didn't have him suddenly show up for no reason.
Right. Well, I was just here tying my shoes, and
I just happened to fall. I fell off the Farragut again, and
right.
Well, I will have to say.
Well, no, I just wanted to say something else that I loved about this particular episode, and they've been really good about it all season long. But some of the major advancements of the episode came from the B-level characters. For instance, the idea to use the debris to fly to the planet, and then also later with Pelia and Uhura, they came up with the idea. Shoot, I'm forgetting.
Who's B-level?
Like, they're not the main stars of the show. That's what I mean.
Like Pelia, for example. Sam Kirk, for example.
Pelia, okay. Yeah, good.
But Marie Batel, for example, despite the fact that I want to say her name is Melissa Scarafino, is incredible and criminally underused here, by the way. Just criminally underused. I mean, especially since she's coming off of Winona Earp.
Did not watch it.
I didn't see that.
And Letterkenny.
I can't watch anything Earp after Tombstone. I can't watch I mean,
that's fair.
I can't watch anything Earp.
I've been trying to figure out. I mean, I know obviously I could have just Googled this and had gotten my answer, but that would have required work, which I wasn't going to do. So I've been trying to rack my brain to figure out where I'd seen her. And then in this episode, I hear that Canadian vowel, and I'm like, oh!
Yeah, if she would have asked for a gin and tonic at some point, it would have been very clear that her Letterkenny connection. But
yeah.
This is my thing with. No, go ahead, Keith.
No, it's just so interesting to see her range, because the way her character on Letterkenny is, you know, a very comedic, very one thing, and then Winona Earp was such in a complete difference of being like this action person, and then we see her here not only being a captain but also doing Judge Advocate General, and seeing her in court with Una. Just she has shown just incredible range just in this season in her small number of appearances, including her singing voice, which we haven't seen.
Right. It's also really frustrating though, because so much of the cliffhanger here depends on our investment in her relationship with Pike and her as a character, and we just haven't had enough development of her or that relationship. I mean, we've seen Pike in love with the idea of this relationship.
Hold on a second. I didn't even realize it. Did she get taken? I didn't realize that.
Yep.
She's
Mabinga, La'an.
I didn't realize who got taken. I didn't realize.
No, she's on the Enterprise.
She's on the Enterprise, but she's a ticking time bomb because she's about to like erupt into Gorn babies.
Oh yeah, she's on the Enterprise because she's in stasis. She's in sick bay.
But yeah, the cliffhanger of the away team is problematic because we know Mbenga and Sam Kirk both survive, so they're saved by plot armor.
Right.
But Ortegas and La'an.
Right, and you can't really.
Well, let's get some more.
You can't really convince me that we're going to lose Ortegas and La'an.
Yeah.
Like you really can't.
The thing is that they did not mention is the fact that they just got out of a war. And
Ortegas does.
Ortega mentioned it a couple times.
Yeah, she does.
I mean, like the Admiral doesn't mention that as a reason for, like, the higher up should be like, we really don't want this war because we are short-shipped because we have just get out of the war and we are, we're not at our strongest.
I think that's just unnecessary exposition, man. We know that from having watched the show. And so.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of it, but I think the idea is that it's a bad idea to be in conflict with a Gorn because it's the bad idea to be in conflict with a Gorn.
Yeah.
And we still don't really know. We don't know who the Gorn are. I think I would like to know more. About
they're giant horror lizards.
This is weird, and they do that in books sometimes. But we don't. All we have is the perspective of the Federation, the protagonists. We don't have the perspective of the antagonists, which is usually they do.
Do they really though? I mean, it took a long time. Like take TOS for example. We don't have a Klingon POV in any of the original series. It's not until I want to say Star Trek 6 that we really start seeing them as people and not just bad. We see like Soviet Mongolians.
We see conversations with them with the Klingons and TOS.
And we saw conversations with the Gorn. If we're going, if that's your threshold here.
We saw their perspective in motion pictures. Search for Spock, Voyage Home.
So in the Undiscovered Country, one thing that we noticed as it relates to the Klingons is there were differing points of view. So you had the chancellor who wanted peace, but you had the generals who wanted war, right? And so we saw that, there was tension even within their own culture about what they should do.
But my point is, how long did it take us to get there? How long? Years.
At that point, that was like, 30 years, I think? Was that?
My thing is, when you really think about it, why would Klingons ever want peace? Their whole definition is war.
But we don't really get into that until the Next Generation in the 80s.
Right. But in a time of peace, I'm just saying, in a time of peace, what do Klingon spaceships do? They're not like looking at look at that anomaly. Let's go over there.
Honestly, I think they're just like they're trying to run herd on the Ferengi. That's really what's happening.
What we have to consider is that the Klingon the Klingons as a race are simply evolving.
Yeah. Well, also remember, prior to Undiscovered Country, we had only gotten at that point 6 movies, 3 seasons of the original series, 2 seasons of animated, and 4 seasons of Next Generation. Since then, we've got all of Deep Space Nine, all of Voyager. 4 more movies, all of Discovery, all of Enterprise. We've gotten a lot more chances
that have since developed these characters. Yeah. But again, like when we introduced these characters and when we started dealing with them, we saw a lot of Romulans in Next Generation, and we got some development of them, but it's not really until Picard that we get like a true look at what being Romulan means. So we have just thrown the Gorn at us.
But Romulans are like conquerors. They want to conquer territory.
I mean, the Gorn hegemony.
The Klingons have never been looked at as actual gaining territory conquerors, but they do just want to have a fight with everybody.
Did you miss a private little war?
A Private Little War? What is that?
Yeah, that's the original series where they're literally having a proxy war to gain power on this planet for territory.
So yeah, and for their natural resources. So that's what an empire is. They they're in search of natural resources.
Just like Trouble with Tribbles, they were fighting over Sherman's planet, who could actually make go of a colony, and the Federation was trying with Quadriticale, and the Klingons were trying to sabotage that.
And that's why Darwin poisons the wheat, because by extension he's going to poison the Federation colonists, and the Klingons are going to come and take it over. Like, that's the plan.
Yeah,
that's the entire tension in the episode, other than the fuzzy, crazy critters.
Now
we are not smart.
Now what's funny
that now my children are terrified of.
But can I say, I never understood the issue with the Tribbles. Like, they did absolutely nothing for me.
What do you mean the trouble? Like the episode?
No, not the episode. I could clearly see like why it was so funny or whatever. By the way, that was a funny episode. But like the way that society just loved the Tribbles, I never got it.
Because they were just little fuzzy things. You know, humans like little fuzzy, cute, hairy things.
It was something that was easily marketable.
I like hairy things,
and they were.
I think that was by accident, though. Don't you think?
Only Keith got that.
Nope.
I didn't hear you.
Oh, Keith and Marie got that.
What did you say, Jason?
We're letting it go.
No, I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
I said.
Oh my God! Like, apparently, I've been so traumatized that like the shaking has actually awakened my Tribble that I have sitting on my desk. That I shamelessly use. Actually, like I shamelessly use with my kids, and it's just I'm like, do you want the Tribble to eat your toy? Then you need to go to bed like a good little boy. Parenting.
Then he said, but I want to be a girl.
So going back to the Tribbles, like I think you're partially right, but I mean, but also it was something. The problem with Star Trek was there was so little that was marketable, that people could produce or people could grab onto and purchase. Like, I mean, they did try with the Idic Medallion, but it just didn't take off. But Tribbles were something everybody could do, like, because you could make a Tribble.
Right.
I mean, you go and you get yourself some fake fur and make a bag and stuff it, and then that's a Tribble. So I think that was something that people could grab onto, and that's kind of where that happened. And also, it's just such a weirdly iconic episode.
It is. That's why they did it in DS9, which was really a really good episode when they did it in DS9.
It absolutely was. And because I mean, they certainly did try with that god awful helmet. We know they did.
Yep.
Keith has shared that with us, and I'm never not going to unsee that. And they even tried with Spock's marshmallow container from Star Trek 4. Star Trek 4 or Star Trek 5?
5 when they were camping.
Yes. And Kirk was climbing the mountain.
Yeah. But he knew he wouldn't die because he was with them.
Could I have some of that secret ingredient, Bones? All right.
So explain to me this. So they attached these thrusters onto the hull of the
Cayuga.
My impression was that it was going to orbit and decay the orbit until it crashed into the planet, and they were going to make a last minute adjustment to be precise. Seemed to me like they put it on there and it just went straight down onto the planet.
It didn't exactly go to plan, but considering he was attacked by a Gorn when he was there, he figured that they probably, that Gorn somehow may have signaled that they were there. So.
Well, that was the idea, so it didn't look like they did it on purpose, right?
Yeah.
So it just looked like it just decayed and crashed.
But I think even more interesting than the actual physics of this, and I'm not discounting that, Jason, is the fact that like we have a very clearly, struggling Spock who may or may not have a death wish doing this.
Why was it only able for no human could do this?
I mean, that's literally Spock's death wish saying, I'm going to do this, and y'all are going to let me do it.
Well, the person who said it was Spock, because Spock wanted to do it, and so he said, no human can do this, but I can.
Right. Because he's going to do it, because he is awash in grief over
I think they didn't even need
guilt.
to say that. They didn't even need to say, he should have just volunteered. And...
This is just Spock, taking this, owning this, saying he will do it, and no one else, and trying to say that no one else can do it. No one can stop me. No one else can. So.
I think it's crazy that everybody assumed that there were no survivors on that ship.
Well, they couldn't scan because the sensors were down.
Exactly. So why would you assume it?
I mean, I gotta tell you that it looked pretty. I mean, the Gorn did a pretty solid job of demolishing the Cayuga.
Yeah.
But you can't assume everybody's dead. Right? Am I right? Am I wrong? Like
all things being equal, I gotta say that like my money would have been on dead rather than not.
First of all, they never assume anybody's dead. That's why they're on the planet looking for people.
I have to agree with Jason.
It looks bad, but we're going to go look for any survivors that might be around. Same thing with the ship. Looks dead.
I think it's easier to assume that there's a possibility of survivors on a planet that has an atmosphere and oxygen. It's a little more difficult to make that assumption with a ship that's experienced what is obviously explosive decompression.
These are Starfleet. These are Starfleet officers. They are resourceful.
I know, but the ship looks powered down, so it looks like there are no force fields. There's no life support.
I think there's a different question between. I think there's a different question here to be discussed, which is like, does it make sense to make that assumption, or is
Rand being the only person, not Rand, Chapel being the only person who lived?
Yeah, somebody did live. Somebody did live.
There's that.
So the thing is,
but we knew she was going to, because Chapel also has plot armor.
Yes.
And will always have plot armor.
Chapel definitely has plot armor,
right? So, like, but I think it's a different question to say, like, we're not assuming that everybody over there is dead, but we are going to assume that it would place too many people at too great a risk to go over there.
Right, but no,
those are different questions.
Right, but what I'm saying is they assumed everybody was dead because they were going to smash it into the planet.
Yeah. They were willing to sacrifice the lives of anyone still alive in the saucer section.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Aside from going over there and looking for them, they just said, we're just going to take this whole spaceship, this saucer section, and smash it into the planet without even thinking maybe somebody might be alive in there.
Yeah, but I mean, again, how are they going? How are they going to go and rescue them? I mean, that was kind of the ongoing.
Maybe they couldn't, but they didn't have to kill them.
They couldn't scan. They couldn't beam them. They couldn't get communication.
They could do that. They could rescue them, because if one person, Spock, can go over there, then 10 people can go over there and walk around.
One person pulling a box full of thrusters is small and going through a debris field. 10 people is a bit more noticeable.
Okay, do them one every 5 minutes.
Or how about staggered time, so it doesn't look like it's a...
That's what I'm saying.
I think what would have made the most sense was if they found Spock, when you go, check to see if there are any survivors. If there's
any survivors, send them back
to get them to go to the Enterprise.
That would make sense.
They could have, right? Because you'll notice he's not actually taking any, like, he doesn't really have the space to carry a whole bunch of extra EVA suits.
Yeah, and there appeared to be only
one. On the suits on the ship. Plenty of suits on the ship. Gotta be.
We only saw one, and it just happened to be the right color for Chapel's uniform.
Right.
No, in the right size and right color.
Yeah.
I can hand wave the right size, right? Like, because like we've seen start like sci-fi pictures where like you click the button and it shrinks to the correct size. I'm like, all right, I can maybe work with that. We
actually live in an age where there weren't enough female suits on on the spaceship for them to do EVAs.
Yes.
Because
why would we have women?
It would actually happen. It actually happened. But I don't think that was the only suit. I think there were several suits on the ship
But I gotta say, Star Trek is really, really like leading the charge on color coded for your convenience as a trope.
Yes.
Yeah, if she would have
just in case.
If there were a wall of them, okay, but we only saw the one, and it just happened.
Well, it was a medical bay, right? It was the medical bay. That's why.
No.
Well, no, but that's the thing, though. Like, you'll notice Chapel has a different uniform because Chapel isn't technically Starfleet exactly. She's actually on loan from Stanford.
Yeah, she's wearing something more akin to what the Discovery crew was wearing. She's not wearing a uniform similar to everyone else. If she were wearing a similar Starfleet uniform to everyone on the Enterprise, she should have been wearing blue. But she's wearing white like they had on the Discovery.
Yep.
And I think
because we are apparently, I guess, just setting her apart. I mean, I that has been kind of like, I kind of get it.
M'Benga gets to wear a completely different uniform than everyone else in medical and science as well. So
and so did Bones, and so did Dr. Crusher. Wow, words, man.
Yeah.
Which I have real questions. Like for Bones, it kind of made sense because like he's a doctor and he's up to guts and like he needs, I don't know, less coverage. I don't know. Maybe they were like, it looks like Scrubs.
Yeah.
I got nothing. I got nothing. That's a design choice that I'd like to hear somebody explain to me.
By the way, what did you think of M'Benga being interested in seeing interesting ways to kill the Gorn?
He's one of the fighters on the ship, so it was like he was gonna go no matter what.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he was just sort of heading Kirk off of Pike off the pass, right? Like, because he's like, yeah, I know, I'm gonna go. But also, I think that it's kind of on brand for him because M'Benga is very angry about anyone who's going to destroy life, and that's kind of the Gorn MO that we've seen thus far. They're literally just going in and decimating planets and injecting their young into sentient beings, knowing that these sentient beings are going to die, and that is something that M'Benga would find anathema.
So I feel like this would be a reason for like the Federation and the Klingons, everybody get together and say, let's just get rid of these people. Like,
isn't there actually? And I cannot remember my Star Trek history. Isn't there actually a conflict with the Gorn hegemony? Like, I think there is actually a war.
Yeah, there is. Apparently, the Gorn joined the Dominion during the Dominion War in the books. Really? And there also was at one point a Klingon Gorn war, and then in Star Trek Online, the Klingons completely take over the Gorn hegemony. So
I mean, you would think the Klingons would just love to fight the Gorn. Like, you wouldn't even have to talk them into it. Hey, you want to fight somebody? The Gorn, the Klingons would be like, oh, kapla.
I'm going to need that again, Jason.
Kalis.
Yeah, I mean, you would think. I mean, you really would think, but that's, I'm kind of in love with the fact, actually, that we're getting the development of this, what had been this incredibly minor character in a minor episode that unfortunately gave William Shatner tinnitus for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
You ever see that like redo with Shatner and the Gorn?
Where they're fighting over the video game.
Right.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
It was very well done. It was just like basically it's like the worst fight ever in sci-fi history.
I have I have a series of children's books that are based in Star Trek. I know you're all shocked to hear this, but one of them is, sort of like a C Spock, like C Spock do science, C Kirk lead Kirk lead. And one of the remarks is like, see the Gorn be fashion forward. And I lose my crap every time I get to that line in the books, and the boys are like, "What? Why is mommy laughing?" Mommy's laughing because this is hilarious.
Wait, did anybody finish my book yet?
No,
not yet. Working on it.
No. Let me finish. Let me get my life back on.
I get no love.
Let me get my life back under control.
I bought them, man. Does that count for anything? Have you bought my books?
No, the money is nothing.
I did.
Where you going?
I didn't know you had books.
Neither did I.
We've had this whole conversation. I've been on this podcast for a year now, and you guys don't know.
I bought Jason's book and I bought Keith's book. At least one.
See, getting the love from Marie.
Okay, put your books down in the thing, and I'll do the thing for the thing.
Okay.
I'm so proud of us. I'm so proud of us. Look at us. We've been on a podcast now for 2 years, and this is where we are.
Yeah.
The thing. I'll do the thing with the thing.
Yeah. Where are we? So we talked. Oh, we haven't talked about Spock, and we touched on it. We touched on it. Spock and Chapel.
Spock's death wish. Yeah.
Yeah, it really seems like Chapel left the ship like as soon as the singing was done. Like they did that final number, and then she packed her bag and left.
Oh my God! Please don't bring up that episode ever again to me. If you respect anything about me, just don't.
But yeah, no, I think you're right. I think what basically happened is Chapel, got the notice, knew she'd gotten selected for the Corby Fellowship, and then was just like, deuces. And then goes and grabs her stuff and then leaves.
I'm still not feeling number one so prominently. It's just, I don't know why it bothers me, but it's like I just don't feel her as a number one. Very, very.
She hasn't taken control of the ship yet, or has she? Has she taken control of the ship?
T'Pol,
not like not like she did last season.
T'Pol was a much better number one. She was great. And all of them, have their stamp. And I'm just like, I'm not seeing it with Rebecca.
It's coming. It's coming.
I mean, we've had a lot. I mean, we have really had like a tremendous amount of stuff thrown at us this season.
Bye, Keith.
Just like a tremendous.
We got 10 minutes, so we should do how we feel about the season because it's the end of the season. And then talk about what we feel like is going into the next season if people get to writing.
I mean, it's going to be a minute before we see anything, especially looking at how the strike is going.
So if I were to rate season 2 against season 1, if season 1 was a 10, which I believe season 1 was a 10, then season 2 would probably be somewhere between an 8 and a 9, 8.5.
Oh, I would say 5 or 6 for season 2.
This is my shocked face. This is my shocked face. You knew that was coming, Jermaine. You knew that was coming.
You knew that was coming. I'm harsh
for me.
Season 1 was so much better. I keep telling you. First of all, I keep telling you guys the show is called Strange New Worlds. We didn't see one Strange New World this entire season. Not one.
I mean, the Gorn.
Parnassus Beta.
We didn't see the Gorn. We didn't see a Strange New World. We saw the Gorn.
I mean, world, culture.
What world? So today,
what I'm saying is a synonym for world could be in this context culture.
We saw the Krakowians interdimensional space. That was very Magician's Apprentice.
Season 1, I thought was way better.
I agree with you there. I don't know
about way. I actually kind of have really enjoyed watching Strange New Worlds kind of push the envelope in terms of what it wanted to do and how it wanted to explore storytelling.
This is what I will say. I will say maybe about 10, 15 years from now, the episode, what was it? If this was episode 10, then episode 8, we'll look at episode 8 a whole lot different.
See, Keith's not here now. We don't have any data.
So not Subspace Rhapsody.
What was episode 8?
I mean, Under the Cloak of War?
Yo, that was Under the Cloak. That was the week they did 2. They did 2 episodes that week.
Right. They did, they did the crossover episode with These Old Scientists, and then it was followed by Under the Cloak of War, and then Subspace Rhapsody, and then this one.
Hegemony. I think that week was my favorite episodes, both of those episodes.
Also, I'll point out I'm not Keith, but I could pull that out of my hat.
And also the episode where Mbinga and Chapel had to fight all those dudes.
So I like that one.
So that would have been the second episode.
I like the one with the lawyer.
I didn't like that.
Yeah,
Man,
at Astra per Aspera.
Yeah,
I didn't like that. I thought it was kind of like,
oh, I loved it.
Watching this.
Dude, I ate that up with
it.
a spoon. That was phenomenal.
I loved it, and it spoke to everything that Star Trek is.
Yes.
Yeah. It is everything Star Trek is. I just felt it'd been done before, and I was like, whatever.
I mean, there has not been an episode that I could not find something that I liked. I mean, of
course, I found stuff that I liked, absolutely, but I just didn't feel like I got what I wanted. I still feel like Discovery has been the best out of all the series. What? Why are you gasping?
I don't know if I would say that.
Really?
I think Discovery had. I think if we had made the jump to the far future a lot earlier, we would have had a much better Discovery. However, season 2 of Discovery, which I think was the weakest of them, still gave us.
I thought that was like one of the best. Like
the Red Angel.
Season 1 and 2 of Discovery were the best. Were the best seasons. Season 2 was like the best season of Discovery.
No, the Red Angel was terrible.
I love the Red Angel.
Visually it was striking, and I really loved the kind of like old school medieval concept of like the multiple wings and all of that jazz. But like, it was.
Maybe if you want to nitpick at like what the Red Angel was, and just generally, I can see how you didn't like that whole aspect of it.
And then we had to go through that whole episode where they were asking us to remember that we liked and cared about Iriam, but like they hadn't made any sort of real investment in her as a character, and so like that entire episode turned on us caring, and there was just no reason to care.
But it was just it still was interesting. I was far less interested in season 3 of like Gray and whatever the other person's name was.
Adira
Gray.
Adira and Gray. I was like, oh my god, why are we having? Oh my, what is happening? But season 2, I just thought was interesting. Like every single episode, even with Area, I thought that episode was interesting. I love the data sphere. I liked everything. Maybe the weakest part of it was the finale. Maybe, but I like this. I think Discovery is the best to me. That's my opinion.
No, the finale rubbed him the wrong way because of Spock.
What did Spock do in that particular episode?
Remember when like, because the whole finale, right, is Discovery taking the sphere data and jumping into the future.
He admitted the fact that he loved his sister.
He loved his sister, and he's got his hands on the thing, and he's just having a moment.
I think I didn't.
And that's when Jason just kind of was like, bleh.
I think I didn't come to terms with how they try to wrap it up, that Michael had to go to all these spots and create all these anomalies.
Yeah, no, I mean, it seriously turns into an interspace, like an interspatial scavenger hunt.
And then it was like, I thought they destroyed Control, so why did they need to leave to the future? Because they literally destroyed Control, right?
No, they didn't destroy Control. They did not.
They destroyed Liam. They destroyed Liam.
No, they had to go to the future because they didn't want it to affect their past. That's why they went to the future. So far in the future,
this is still like. However, this is Discovery season 2. We need to be back on Strange New World season 2 since we have like 2 minutes left.
Well, we're done with it. Okay, so
just saying.
So I love the season.
Who's the sexiest?
Whatever.
That's fair. I really enjoyed. I enjoyed
Who's
the
season. Sexiest? Who's the sexiest?
I can't pick.
Sexiest character
between.
And I'm glad Will Wofford is not here to answer this question, but
I can't pick. Like I think literally I identify my sexuality as the cast.
You know what?
Marie, LGBTQIA positive SNW. Like,
you know what, Marie? You had this whole Nurse Chapel thing early on, and I really didn't see it much. But I think later, as time progressed, I kind of started seeing it.
Like, I think it's precious you used like the past tense for my thing for Nurse Chapel.
Well, you don't mention it as much.
When you mentioned it before, it was in the past.
No. But I mean,
when you did anything in your life, it was always in the past.
Yeah, but this is an ongoing problem. Like, I have an ongoing thing for Nurse Chapel.
Jason, what's your answer?
You know, I asked a question that was kind of just bullshit, but I'm gonna go ahead and answer my own question. Who is the sexy? You know what? Uhura gets me. Who are? I would say between Uhura and Chapel, maybe. Remain is not like, I think back in the day she was like sexier, but
agreed.
I'm not saying, but you know what? You know, as a straight man, I will say that all the men in this series are pretty handsome. Like Pike's a handsome man. He's a good looking man. So is
You have been seduced by the hair.
Spock. Yeah, I've been seduced by the hair. I remember Spock. You know, Spock was speaking of Discovery. You know, Spock in the tights in season 2, right?
And he was giving it during this episode. They showed it all.
Yeah.
I had a pic of it, but you know, because you're here, I didn't want to gross you out.
Yeah, you're not gonna gross me out. I'm okay.
I'm sorry. Wait. Like, just because of him, we don't get like a Spock eye candy. Come on, well, Jermaine. Jermaine.
You know. Are you saying you want to see?
Yes, 3 of the 4 of us are down.
She wants to see.
So you speaking for Keith?
I did not speak for Keith. Keith said this.
Oh no, I can't add it. I had too many pictures. I did get the clip, but I had too many pictures.
I'm like, Keith just made the statement.
Who is your favorite helmsman
of all
from
time?
All the treks.
What's her name on this particular?
Ortega.
Yeah.
Ortega.
It would have to be her. It would have to be her. Yeah.
I kind of go with Paris.
I did not like his character at all.
I didn't like it.
Nothing about his character that I liked.
I mean, the actor Robert Duncan McNeil is fantastic. Tom Paris was not. I mean, Tom Paris kind of was like Tom Paris vacillated between full Chad and himbo.
He grew on me. He grew on me.
Yeah, you know what else grows on you? Cancer.
Yeah, and my that's why I went to a funeral today, because that's true.
But wait,
okay, my bad.
Were you asking me which helmsman looked the best?
No, not look the best. What the hell?
Then I would have said Travis.
Everybody go to Marie's house. Something's happening.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess what I like is that in Voyager they actually started building a story around Paris, and it kind of made sense because they didn't have stories around like who was the helmsman in TNG.
Jordy, the first season.
Yeah, Jordy, the first season, and
right.
then after that, we kind of get like that one actress
and Wesley for a while too.
Yeah. That black guy who just Nagilum just like killed him. Like, oh, goodbye.
Yeah, one episode. Yeah.
You have random people, but
you had the one actress who was also in Space Space Above and Beyond.
Yeah, like the one with the hair.
Yeah.
Like the very 90s hair.
Then you had the one that was the beauty contestant as well.
Yeah.
She only did a couple episodes.
Yeah, it was always Wesley and Data was at Ops, right?
Well, what's funny is on the Lower Decks mobile game, they just started introducing all the Strange New World characters because of the crossover, and they added Ortega's this week, and you have Ortega's showing up on the bridge of the Cerritos and Boiler being, oh yeah, you're the greatest pilot ever, and then they're discussing, and she's like, I don't know who Sulu is. I don't know who that is. Well, you're better than Paris. And she goes, oh, well, that's a certainty.
That's a very low.
I do like how I'm always looking at the technology. So
like one of the deepest holes in my heart is that I don't have the Paris plate, and I don't even like Paris as a character.
I noticed
I don't want it. I'm good.
I noticed the chute on the Enterprise that was the same chute, like with the little colored things in it. I think it was
the Jeffries tube.
I don't know if that's a Jeffries tube, though. So
the round hole that people climb into to.
Yeah. Is that
Jeffries tube? Yes.
Okay, I noticed that. I've noticed Spock's interfaces are kind of the same, right? He looks into the thing, and then they have the other thing with the black and white bands of color like moving up and down. They still have that. They still have the medical scanners that looks the same, pretty much the same as McCoy's did, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much
At
the
least
same.
the readout does, yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind
Also,
of
I gotta say, one of the things I really appreciate, speaking of like illusions, not just visual illusions, but like, has anybody else noticed that like Ethan Peck has started incorporating Leonard Nimoy's speech patterns into his portrayal?
Yeah. Sensors.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Well, one thing I
Leonard Nimoy is the best fucking Vulcan there will ever be.
To be fair, he's the one who originated them. So
yeah.
No, it's not to be fair. It's just he just is like it's like.
Sorry, Tim Russ.
Better. I was just about to say better than Tuvok.
He's better than Tuvok.
You like Tuvok.
I do like Tuvok. Tuvok is good. T'Pol is good. Every other Vulcan are assholes.
I don't know. I deeply love how Tim Russ managed to get that very blank expression and yet imbue it with this long-suffering frustration.
Yeah. Like, I've loved it. Him and Neelix,
phenomenal.
First of all, his relationship with Neelix was phenomenal. Even though Neelix, people's like, oh, Neelix is like an aggravating character.
Yes.
Yeah.
If he's aggravating to you, you just can't imagine how aggravating he is to fucking Tuvok.
Oh, right? I can only imagine that, knowing how Vulcans are susceptible to smell. The smell of Neelix is probably so
right.
way up there.
Right.
Especially the first time he meets him where he hasn't bathed ever.
Like, let's have a conversation about the fact that like we never got a sequence with Tuvok going to the doctor for like I need smell blockers, all of them.
That would have been nice. I really did. I really did enjoy Tim Russ as Tuvok. I think it was done very well.
And I love Jolie Blaylock for what she tried to do, but like her frustration with the entire situation in which she finds herself bleeds into her performance as T'Pol.
Yeah.
Well, no, I enjoyed her as well, though. I think she did it very well.
Yeah, but the fact that she had to wear the skin tight catsuit in every episode,
and also rub Connor Trenier.
Yeah.
Hey, I enjoyed the skin tight catsuit. I'm not going to say I didn't like it.
I'm not saying I didn't, but
who would enjoy?
Yeah.
All of the scenes in Decon were gratuitous.
Yeah, that was Berman. That was
Trip
Berman.
kept me coming back.
If I was Archer, I would just be like, T'Pol, go to Decon and just look on the camera. That's right.
No, and they had to rub the oil on each other.
Get that jelly on you, right?
The Decon gel, yeah.
You missed the spot of that
episode.
And the entire fandom had a full meltdown when that happened. Like on old school BBS boards, because this was obviously like 2000.
Scientifically, it was. There's no reason they would have to rub gel on each other. It's completely
and yet here we are.
You just spray it. You just spray it on.
It was a hot factor. It was a hot factor. They had
all right, folks.
But look, before
I am not well,
so
we are gonna go.
Before we go, don't forget to kiss that subscribe button, click on the like button, share us on all your social medias, nibble on that notification button,
what the fuck is
and
going
make
on?
love to our senses in the comments. Y'all have a good one.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm not going to ever say it on the internet. Yeah, never.
I'm sorry. Wait. There was a shadow of a church.
Okay. What?
William has questionable ideas about what he puts. William has questionable ideas about what he puts on the internet.
Oh, I remember that episode.
Uh-huh.
I remember that episode. Yeah.
Wait. What? Wait.